So we're here at High Sierra Lanes in Reno, and we're going to work on an aspect of training that is, although the idea makes sense, it's outside of almost everybody's experience to do. And when we were training with Kim on tour, this was one of the most challenging exercises, actually mental, almost spiritual exercises there was to do, period. And we say that it's been said that the highest form of intelligence is to be able to observe something without judging it. And I will say that in bowling too, that the highest form of bowling intelligence is to be able to observe what you're doing, observe what's happening with completely absent of judgment. And most bowlers' brains don't work that way. They'll have, even if you have a key thought, you might have a thought of, I'm going to push away on time, and somewhere between here and there might be all kinds of thoughts about shoulder position or elbow or release time or whatever it is. Very difficult to keep your mind in one place. But far beyond that is the ability to keep your mind clear, to keep that frame clear, and say, I'm going to execute this shot, and here's my challenge. I'm human, so I react to things, but I'm not going to be human for a moment here, which is I'm going to set up, I'm going to make my shot, I'm going to keep the shutter of the camera open, meaning I'm going to be completely observational, see what happens, and I'll notice either what's happening with my ball motion, or I'll notice what happened in my body, or I might even notice what happened with my tension level. And I'm going to notice first, and I'm going to react at least 5 seconds later, because I'm going to learn first. All learning happens after the shot, really. And I'm going to see if I can learn, and then I'll have my reactivity or my emotionality or my judgment after. And I've never yet played a whole game with somebody where they were able to do this for 10 frames. And we'll see if we can do it for 2 or 3 frames with Kim. So what I'm going to ask you to do is throw some shots and tell me what you're aware of. And it'll either be your body, the lanes, or your spirit, so to speak, yourself, and then we'll see what happens with your bowling with that, okay? So I want you to go out there. Just sort of the external goal is to strike, but we'll see what awareness you have. So let's see if we can go for a perfect 3 frames.
Yeah, I'm hopeful here. This has not been my strength,
All right.
so I'm going to try.
We'll have you execute some shots and we'll debrief afterwards, okay? All right. So we're big on kids don't bet at home, probably. We're big on $100 bets here for training purposes, and we should put money up against this. And so yes, because it's more fun.
I'm a big gambler, and so let's do that.
We'll do a little bit. My 100 against your 20. Okay, and all you have to do is strike. But more than that, the most important, actually, we won't even have you have to strike. Okay. What we'll have you do is you've got to execute. And it's got to be, your best shot, and withhold judgment once again, completely, until after you've had a chance to observe what there is to observe.
So it has to go through the pins, or where?
Yeah, stay on the lane.
Okay.
And it has to go through the pins, but I don't really care if it strikes. What I care about is that you're aware of what you're doing, so that you could strike on the very next shot after this, because you've been so observational and so not crazy reactive first. Okay, not that you ever get crazy, but you have subtle reactions. We'll talk about that in a moment, okay? All right. Oh, there we go. So, and there's the face. Okay, striking happened, but the face happened too. And the reason we know that I won $20 is this. After the shot is executed, comes off, and you see the facial grimace, and then sort of the reactivity as she's watching the ball hit the pins. I don't know if you struck or not. Did you?
I think I did, yes.
You think you did? You know you did. You would know if you struck. And it's not that you're not supposed to have a reaction. We're not training people to be robots or automatons here. What we are training people to do is to execute and have a split second of awareness before the reactive. It's like when you wake up in the morning and when you're laying in bed, you can remember that last dream you had, but if you do anything, the dream is gone. You go brush your teeth, you forgot your dream. As soon as you start to react, the learning that you might have had about what happened in your body, or what happened in terms of how free you were, or even what's happening on the lanes, you start to erase it fast with your reactivity. So all we're saying is a split second, literally half a second or second of just pure execution, and then if you want to have some judgment or reactivity afterwards. It's afterwards.
All right. Well, yeah. I guess for a long time I thought the goal of the exercise was, somehow that my brain couldn't comprehend all of that information at once. If I'm busy reacting, that I'm not able to kind of at least digest the accuracy, the ball motion, the roll, all those things that are valuable in making a good decision for the next shot.
Yes.
And so, typically that is definitely a struggle of mine because I'm reactive and it shows.
Part of what's happening is you may be losing some information, and it may be keeping you from really picking out some important focal points, whether it's in your arm swing or any other part of what's going on here. It's challenging. I know, as we said, it's been hard, but the clearer your screen, the more information that can imprint on it. The muddier the screen, the harder it is for information to sort of be put in a place that it can be retained.
It sort of reminds me of another exercise that you did with me that I use to this day, and you had me sort of focus on some random body part, actually at my left pinky.
Yes.
I was throwing it bad, or anytime I start throwing it not the way I want anyway, I sort of draw all my attention over there, and for whatever reason, it just allows everything else to happen naturally, and I'm not sort of managing every single movement of my approach, and whatever might be going wrong seems to crazily appear, and it's like a flashing light is like, oh, it's your push away direction or whatever it is. And maybe I'm a believer in all of this, but I know that it's worked for me.
If we can keep our mind in one place only, there's room for other stuff to come in. But as we said, as more sort of zip codes open up in terms of attention, there's less place for new information to imprint and impact. And some of this is, we've talked about it when we work together. It's in the book that I have out, Focus for Bowling, and there's a new book I have coming out on championship bowling, where we'll have these and other exercises in there as well, and more work that people can do on their own, work on their mental game when they are at home.